A new detention policy from the Trump administration is keeping thousands of undocumented immigrants behind bars, even after judges rule that they should be released on bond.
Yeah, a Maryland man is among those caught up in this legal limbo. Our chief investigative reporter Eric Flack witnessed his arrest over the summer, and tonight he's following up on that story.
Yeah, we were watching as you were reporting that and sort of talking us through what happened just before your eyes. You've spoken with judges who say the president's policy is turning these courts, these immigration courts, into a game of detention roulette.
Yeah, and that's a direct quote. Less civil rights attorneys claim what's going on violates civil rights and constitutional protections. Carlos Ventura Martinez sits in an ICE detention center in Louisiana.
Bye.
Back in Prince George's County, 3-year-old Carlito misses his papa.
Buscando papá.
Buscando a papá.
Sí.
WUSA 9 was there as ICE agents stumbled across Martinez back in June.
He's been peeking. I see him peeking over here.
Agents searching for an MS-13 gang member arrested Martinez instead, who had simply parked across from their stakeout. Martinez entered the country illegally in April 2013, but his wife Luz, who is here legally, says he focused on working and sending money to family in El Salvador rather than pursuing citizenship. Martinez was arrested for being undocumented, despite having no criminal history, in what ICE calls a collateral arrest. Newly released government data shows immigrants detained by ICE with no criminal record now outnumber those with a criminal record.
The administration is not following through on what it told the American people it was setting out to do.
Nora Ahmed, legal director of ACLU Louisiana, said the rights of Martinez and thousands like him are being violated in another way.
Rescue our nation's capital from crime.
Because of a dramatic shift in immigration detention policy ordered by President Trump.
The United States government did a maneuver that had largely not been used before.
Days after his arrest, an immigration judge ruled Martinez was not a flight risk, granting him bond, ordering his release while he prepared for his immigration hearing. But when Martinez tried to post that bond 6 times between July and August, the Department of Homeland Security rejected the payment, taking the rare step of appealing the bond ruling in an immigration case, which has now been vacated by an immigration board.
And what that ultimately means is that if an individual is incarcerated in ICE detention, they remain there, even though an immigration judge already made the determination that there is no risk of danger to the community whatsoever.
That dramatic shift in immigration policy has been declared illegal by dozens of federal judges. A Maryland judge suggested the detentions violate the immigrants' due process enshrined in the Constitution. Other judges wrote the new policy is radical and defies logic. One called it a game of detention roulette.
If you are on American soil, whether you are a citizen or a non-citizen, you have a constitutional right to due process. Immigration detention cannot, by law, be used as a form of punishment. But what we're starting to see here is that.
Monday, the ACLU of Louisiana, where Martinez is being held, filed court papers trying to get his bond reinstated. A spokesperson for the White House referred our questions to ICE. We are waiting for their response to an email seeking comment. In the meantime, Carlos Ventura Martinez and his family wait for a ruling and pray for a release.
The 11-year-old, when he sees me crying in bed, he says he's asking God to give me strength.
Even if Martinez is eventually released on bond, he still faces deportation. His attorneys believe he has a strong case for what's called cancellation of removal, because his removal would cause what's known as exceptional hardship to a U.S. citizen. That U.S. citizen, his wife Luz, who's left alone now to support little Carlito and her 2 older children. Guys, Martinez's deportation hearing is scheduled for October 7th.
Sounds like that's the only thing that's certain in this case, that hearing is going to take place on that day.
And they will continue to try and get that bond reinstated so he can go back home and be with his family while he prepares for that hearing. A hearing his attorneys believe he should be granted permanent residency here in the U.S. But at this point, as the days tick away unlikely that he will get that bond he was originally granted to be out before he faces that critical hearing.
Yeah, in fact, going back to the very beginning, we know that he was stopped simply because of how he looked. He wasn't actively committing a crime of any sorts when they stopped him, right?
Wrong place, wrong time, essentially.
Wrong place, wrong time, and a lot of questions being asked about what defines profiling in this era of this immigration and deportation crackdown.
All right.
A lot to follow.
And we know you'll be following it, Eric. Thank you.
Okay.